Hi, hello. Welcome to episode 3, I believe, of the Star Wars Skirmish campaign. We are going to start with a shift number 4, as it says here on the die. Going to turn on all the things. And I actually pre-did some of the things that I wanted to do for shift number 4. In the previous episode, in the previous shift, we raided the abandoned droid works in the gangland after a rumor, a lead that the briefcase of guns that I'm looking for was there. Sadly, it wasn't. It had been there, but it was there no more. The courier had been kidnapped by a bunch of scavvers from the rats. It's not this team. This is a new thing. A bunch of rats who kidnapped this courier and then took them to Vashek's Rest. As we found out from the Arita Hunter that we rescued from a bunch of feral droids. So from this raid, we looted a few things. We looted a smoke grenade and some DC-15S parts, which might be useful on in a while if I manage to complete the item. And then we moved to the tub. In the tub, we gave the hunter back to their people. We got a couple of reputation points with the Rhodians of clan Rita. Do not mind about the 10. It's a 0. Because I spent those 2 reputation points in Shift 4 to take the trade action at Scrapper Square. And I spent both of my reputation points with the Rhodians to have my armor repaired because it had been destroyed at the Droidworks raid, and that cost me 1 point. It would have cost me 500 credits, but because armor repairs at 25% the value of the original item per missing shield, per missing pip. I was missing 2 pips, so I paid 500, 250 times 2. And then the other point of reputation with the clan, I converted into just cash. So 500 creds, straight up. Even though selling items is not necessarily the way to make money, because items are sold at their value times 250, but are bought at their value times 500. So effectively, I would be selling items at half their value. Credits are always useful to have because if you haven't watched last raid, please go do that. It would make me very happy, and also I think it's a fairly interesting entertainment. Credits can always be used to buy special exfil points, hire people, hire mercenaries, hire gangers, while trade, apologies for that, trade can be done with barter. If it happens to be relevant, I will show you the process, but I'm not expecting it to be relevant, at least for this episode and the next one. So, after this preamble, I took one of my actions. I have another one, and which I will wait a second, because on this shift we drew the event Nothing. On rejoice, no news, good news in the Coruscant Underworld. Fancy a nap? perhaps. And the rats spawned a team, which is a fairly large team. It's 40 veterancy and 20,000 credits worth of units. That means they can buy. That could be, for example, 6 units, because rat units are fairly cheap. It could be for something like 4 units and a fairly expensive unit, like a boss. A scav boss for whom I have the profile, and then the Black Star team, who is the same team from episode, I believe, quote unquote 1.5 from the first raid that we had on camera, managed to evac, bravely run to spy lift, and then they spent their second action for shift 4 to engage in some commerce. Now the rats moved here, so they as an action they spawned, and then as the other action they moved there. And then the tub, also known as the Rhodians, because that's the tub is their settlement, chose to spawn a team, which realistically is going to be probably a hunter, a beastmaster, and a couple of beasts, because that's what they do. That's sort of the faction gimmick. Beasts are very fast and very strong in melee, but not necessarily very durable. They're going to go to the gangland, and from the gangland actually move to Spire Lift and then engage in trade there. Now that leaves me. That means I have an action left. I could move to the gangland, then I would be stuck there. I would be stuck there for until the next shift, which means I could be raided by the rats. But also the rats, because my camp is not hidden, and camps are a point of interest, the rats could choose to raid my camp as I get to the gangland, and then by the time I left the gangland, they might choose to do something else. So instead, I am going to actually. I do have a contract. I do have a Black Star contract for 1,500 credits and 1 reputation with Black Star, which is here in the gangland. But I also know that I want to go here at Vash Express, because the contract lead that I have, that I got from the Rhodians, which is reliable, because I saved one of their people, one of the people who was involved with the briefcase, told me that the courier I'm looking for is in Assis junkyard, which is here. And because the lead is reliable, I will say that I can wait a bit more shifts before it becomes old. Which means I could go here, bait a raid, because I also, I forgot to tell you that I spent some of the veterancy that I gained, all the veterancy that I gained on the raid of last episode for this ability, which is from the rifleman class path, which means that I can shoot back. I'm not forced to shoot back at 7+. It's not amazing, but when I am inevitably going to take some training in aim, that means I might get to shoot back at 4 or 5 plus. Now, every shot that I return is a roll of the hit die, which means the more times I shoot, the higher the chance that I overheat my weapon. So that's to be kept in mind. This might not be relevant just yet, but it will be relevant in the future. So I could go here, because I don't really have much in the way of... I could take a contract, actually. Can I take contracts? I cannot, because they don't have a contract taking node yet. That's unfortunate. Actually, let me check the nodes. Chagrin Enclave. Ooh, oh no. That's unfortunate. Let me check some of the POIs at the gangland. Raid scavenge. I should have uniformed them to salvage, not scavenge. Ah well. I have been playing the Old Republic again, and I'm looking for a way to introduce crew skills in the game, because I like it. But that will be probably next campaign if I get to do it. So I have a contract here. I could tempt my luck and go to the Chagrin Enclave. I don't need drugs. And I could go at Nova Blade base, actually. Because I have my stash, and my camp has two value worth of items to trade. Which could get me something like maybe a couple of new things that I added to the items deck. However, I think I'd rather be done with the contract as soon as possible, and then wait. So I think I'll go pay the Rhodian market a visit. So I'm going to move here. Wow. Now, this is going to mean that I have taken both actions. They have taken both actions. They have taken both actions. They have taken both actions. So as a result of the trade, I'm going to say that they got some extra credits. Poor bastards. They were not very lucky. Their trading went poorly, which means if they happen to be in a fight, I can take 11,000. No, that's way too much. That is way too much. There you go. They can take one extra coolant can, for example. So this is end of shift 4. And the almighty shift counter says it's the start of shift 5. Now, I'm going to shuffle the campaign deck, and I'm going to see what happens next. No. Apply. Loot. Ooh. Pick or determine a node until the next oh, I can read, sure. Pick or determine a node until the next shift. Raids in that node to spawn D4+1 additional loot caches, and enemy raiding parties gain 2,500 credits and 10 extra veterancy. This means basically that the Grapevine learns that there's a loot cache in that node, and then the factions send their good raiders, their wealthy raiders, to secure that cache. So I'm going to determine the POI in a second, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. This happened. So out of 11 points of interest, half of which are in the gangland, do note, we got the only point of interest in Ashek's Rest. This is... I'm not going to say the will of the Force, because this campaign does not believe in the will of the Force, but it kind of feels like the will of the Force, not going to lie. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle, because I could, as it is new shift, okay, meaning I have both my actions, but so does everyone. So does everyone. I could take an action to move to Vashek's Rest and then raid the junkyard, which is going to be a massive raid because it's going to benefit from the loot event, but also is going to be my mission objective. So I am going to have the biggest raid of all time, effectively. Or I could stay here. Everybody's going to probably move to Vashek's Rest, except these two raids are not going to be there in time. I could stay here, raid the old Royal Market. I mean, it's going to stay there though. The contract is permanent. Probably not really a good reason, because by the time if I manage to gather the briefcase, I must take it to Spire Lift, and then from Spire Lift take the big lift, cargo lift, to level 1313, and that's going to be the end of the campaign. So I could be done in two shifts. Basically, by the end of shift 6, I could be done with it. The campaign could end, and I would not be able to finish this thing. But I could also go here. So go here by the end of shift 6. On shift 7, establish a camp. Drop the briefcase at the camp, which is good because settlements are usually safer, and I am on contract by Blackstar, so they are not likely to raid me, and also I have a history with Arita, which means they are less likely to raid me. And if the Rats team is not defeated in this raid, they would have to enter the turf of another gang and be probably jumped by at least 2 teams. So that's not a smart move on the Rats. It feels like going here and raiding is the answer, honestly. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to take an action to move from the gangland to Vashek's Rest, which means the Rats are going to do the same, because, you know, free stuff on their home turf. I am going also to say that the Rats are going to automatically deploy a fresh team with says 30 veterancy and 12,500 credits. I will be right back. Okay. And then I am basically going to be against such a massive opposition, but also I'm going to get all the activations on the planet. This could break the campaign if I don't play it really good, really well. I can English, sure. If I play it better than I speak English, that's for damn sure. I could get so much money out of this. I will say, however, that before leaving, I'm going to leave my radio pack at the camp for the very specific reason that both of my radio comms pool abilities involve droids, and the scavs don't use droids. Not yet. Even though I do have the in the NPC deck, I have B1s. Because if you remember, the Battle of Coruscant was a thing, and I like to go by the 2003 animation that had droids invade actual set foot on the ground on Coruscant. And if you haven't watched it, you can find the best bits on YouTube. It's amazing. It's so delightfully insane that it has to be. It's a thing that you must watch, I think. So that was my action. That was their action. I believe that the Black Star team is going to engage in some commerce of their own. That's going to be an extra 1,000 credits. So are the Rhodians. That is still apologies, 1,000 extra. And then as everybody's second action. Ooh, actually, because they haven't taken their first action. No, the first action was being spawned. Right. It's all experimental. So now I need to take everybody's second action. So as a second action, wait, too much. Black Star is going to move here. The Rhodians are going to move back to the gangland, hoping that they can ambush the next team that moves into the gangland. Hopefully not me. And then I am going to raid a seized junkyard. So I'm going to do like this. And then these two teams are going to raid me at the junkyard. So this is going to be a hell of a Tatooine standoff. Wow. Hi, hello. This is Editor Tals speaking from the arcane fortress of the editing room. I looked at the length of the previous recording, which raw file is 23 minutes and change, and chose to have the raid as a separate episode because it is, if the previous episode is any indication, it's gonna be long. And I'd rather not have like an hour and a half of video. So I am going through the process of setting up all the business. I've done a few rolls. I will. Ooh, I added a few loadouts. I might actually film the process and then upload it after the campaign is done as sort of a backup, like a behind the scenes. But that will happen at a later date. I am so glad to have your eyeballs for this shindig, and I wish you an amazing night.